Here's an idea for a road trip.
Take two extremely different people from two very different backgrounds, throw them in a car and ask them to travel around Southern Africa together in search of adventure, food, culture, hidden gems. I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
My name's Bridget Pike. I love food, drinks, music, shopping and all the finer things in life.
I'm Dean Buerta. I'm all about the sun, the sea, the surf, the adventure, the outdoors and everything in between.
Welcome to On the Fly. Look at all that unused space that could be utilized. Look at the gaps.
She whines and she moans a lot.
I'm not comfortable. This is not
Being on the
good.
Men do not belong in the kitchen. Debatable. We have different music selections and if you want, sorry, just...
I feel like I'm in the army. I'm in the back of an army truck. About to go to war! We travelled to Durban the next day, right?
Yes,
Of course, you would remember that.
of course.
What did we do in Durban Dene?
You can go to surf for about 8.5 minutes.
Yeah, let's go get wet.
Okay, cool. And then you promised me coffee and a tour.
Coffee and a tour of how we make these things.
Amped. Excited. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's go. I don't think anyone realizes, certainly not our director anyway, that the transition of getting your board ready, getting your suit on, doing a little bit of stretching, because you got it.
Yeah, you got it. The body needs to
anticipating
warm
where
up.
the waves are going to be, paddling out, that's a 15-minute process.
Yeah, I'm not much of a surfer, let's be honest. Those waves are not conducive. Those waves are not ideal at all right? You cannot judge me on my surfing skill from that. No, but that's what it's about. It's not about, let's say the best surfer is always the guy having the most fun. And in that short period of time, I had some fun. It was as simple as that. Some things you need to give some time to, like surfing. Some things you don't, like whale watching. It's balance.
No, you do need time for that, you know.
While you're surfing, you can watch the whales. Oh, take there, Rebecca.
Okay, well that was fun. Let's go back to the factory and show you how these things are made.
Yes. Cool.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
cool.
Coming up on the fly.
I've always wanted to shape my own surfboard. What is the whole process?
I didn't go to Durbs for surfing or surfboards. I went for the food.
There's some spice in that.
What baba, like it was here.
Toilet
like
roll in the
hot.
freezer stuff. I've been involved in the surfing industry for many years, but for our viewers out there, as well as just a little bit of own personal insight, I've always wanted to shape my own surfboard. What is the whole process? Talk us through the whole, from beginning to the final product.
completion.
These beautiful pieces of art standing behind us.
Okay, Dean, yeah, well it's quite a complicated sort of process. You know, firstly we need to work out your weight, your height, your ability. You know, are you front-footed, are you back-footed as a surfer? And once we've worked out all of those things, we'll sort of give it across to to our shaper, who will then design a file for you on the specs and dimensions that you're after. He'll spend about an hour and a half designing your board. We'll then go and process an order, and we'll get a blank shipped in for it, a polyurethane blank with a wooden stringer. Will come here in a very raw form. Let the guys cut it out of the CNC, which takes it very, very accurately to what the shaper was after. Once that's done, it kind of goes into the shaping bay, and the shaper will then go and measure that everything came out as he wanted it to. He will then start shaping and fine-tuning the board to your specs. From there, working out what fin system you're after, whether it's FCS or futures, we'll install the fin system. That will then go to the spray bay. Whatever spray you want on the board, whether it be Bob Marley or a pink rail. From there it goes to the lamination bay. The lamination bay, they fit the fins. Then they laminate top and bottom, depending on your glassing specs. The more we glass, the stronger the board gets. From that, it then goes to the sanding bay. The sanding bay is very meticulous. These guys, it needs to be done with pure light. They sit there and they sand it all the way down to 1,000 grit. Which is as smooth water paper as you can get. That then comes out, goes through a meticulous QC. Then attractions, also again, are you flat-footed, are you goofy-footed, are you natural-footed, depending on whether you want to arch or kick. Are you an aerialist, you can have a higher kick at the back. Are you more on the rail, you can have less kick. We'll pick a traction, we've got about 14 in the range. Best to suit your design and your ability. From then, again, a leash. Your leash will obviously always need to be longer than your board. That's your number one rule on a leash. Fittings, all the grub screws, everything goes in, and yeah, the board's ready to get in the water.
All locally made, right here in sunny Durban.
Yeah, thanks,
man.
Dean.
Appreciate it.
Cool.
They were awesome. They even gave us some stuff to take home with us. I've got roof racks, and we've got some slip slots.
Oh, you got something out of it at least. High five.
Of course. There you go. Babe.
Yeah, I didn't go to Durbs for surfing or surfboards. I went for the food. And of course, when you're in Durban, you have to try bunny chow. And there's only one place to do that. Now that we're in Durban, we had to come to the Oriental to learn to make our own. I'm with Eddie and Gladys, and they're going to show me the tricks of the trade.
We use about 500 loaves a day.
Okay, wow.
So basically, we get 4 quarters out of a loaf, and we sell about 1,000 to 2,000 bunnies a day. That's quarters or a half.
Oh my word.
And that's about half a ton of meat. That's mutton curry, my most popular one. That's half a ton of meat a day.
And they go through like 5,000 loaves a day.
Was it 5,000?
5,000 loaves. Was it 2,000?
No, I think it's 2,000 loaves, 8,000 bunny chows, because you get one You get 4 bunny chows,
Yeah.
somewhere around that.
Yeah,
It's
but-
2,000 loaves a day.
And then
something like
some
that.
crazy amount of meat
Yeah.
that they're also using on a daily basis. I'm not going to talk figures because I'm terrible at measuring shit. You know how it is.
Put on the side of plate, and then serve. The Gary is going to dish you the mutton curry. That's how he does it. So,
I want to know, before we get into the mutton curry, what kind of spices are we using?
okay, we got our secret herbs and spices.
Secrets.
Okay, our chili powder and all the other spices, turmeric powder, dhania powder, jeera powder, garam masala. It's all mixed accordingly.
And they would not tell me their secret spices. But I mean, you know, I just want to know what the spices were. And how long does it take to actually cook the curry?
Mutton curry is for 45 minutes to an hour.
Awesome. And if you could smell it, it's so good. Is this enough? Or
Yes,
more?
yeah. One
On
more
top?
is fine. So we do over the plate.
They sauce. Yeah, that looks well.
Yes, and then you have your garnishing there on the top there.
Oh, I love that. And they're not shy at all. They pour everything in there. The sauce is like pouring. The bun runneth over. You know?
And carrot salad.
So sambals, we
Sambals,
have chili, onion,
and
tomato.
The vegetable pickle.
Yes.
It's all chopped up vegetables with chili also.
I see.
And then you got your carrot salad there. as
Awesome.
well.
This has got I see carrots, onions, and also
chilies.
chilies.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And then do we put these bad boys on the
Yeah.
side over here?
Let's
like
go on the
this?
side onto the table, yeah.
Oh, okay, well, we just do it like this.
Like that.
So what's the correct way to eat a bunny?
Put your hand
Like just get in
in there
there.
and you put your hand there.
Love your work.
And
Let's go see what he thinks of this. I hope he likes it because we put a lot of love into it. Dun, dun, dun. Bunny chow.
Well done.
No. You are not allowed to use a knife and fork. I asked Eddie, the man in charge, and he was like, no.
Oh,
The
really?
best way to eat this is with your hands.
Why
So
did they give you a knife and fork? That's my question. Okay, so we just get in here.
get in there and tell me what you think. No more squealing.
Oh gosh, I'm interested.
Is it good? What a little bit of salad. With the sambal and you good?
I don't need a fork.
So you're convinced? We don't have to go anywhere else.
I'll tell you when I finish it. How about that?
Nah. Okay. Well, I won't buy it. It's delicious.
Oh, there's some spice in that. Definitely.
Secret
Instant,
spices.
instant heating up. Woo!
And then what baba? Like it was here.
Toilet
like
roll in the
hot.
freezer stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
Toilet roll in the freezer.
stuff was bottom.
So hot.
Proper.
I think I don't even want to know what the spices were because it was that hot. Forget about your sinus problems. They're going to be gone after this. So hot. Oh my.
Oh, I'm struggling a bit.
Me too.
Oh, forget.
I didn't finish mine because it was bloody hot. It was so hot, like your tongue. You can't even feel your tongue after that. It was very delicious.
Coming up on the Fly.
Nelson Mandela's capture site. How did he get caught? That place is like in the middle of nowhere.
We're at Cross Dairy at the 1,000 Hills Chef School. Joining with us is Chef Jay, who is the 2015 Unilever Senior Chef winner.
This is professional Bridget. Bridget number 7.
We've left it and we are on our way to accommodation. We are going to the
3 Tree Hill Lodge.
and you we came across this amazing little spot that I didn't know existed. Nelson Mandela's capture site.
This is one of those occasions where Bridget became, this was very much her people. This was Bridget's people. Dean, let me teach you about my people.
They caught my people! They caught him. I mean, how did he get caught? That place is like in the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of nowhere. How did they find him? Spies, I tell you, spies.
Nelson Mandela was actually returning from an undercover visit from Chief Albert Luthuli, who was the president of the ANC in the 1950s and also in the 1960s. The main purpose for the visit was to report to Chief Albert Luthuli about his Africa trip. In 1961, when the ANC, which is the ruling party, they changed their policy of non-violence protesting into an armed struggle, the Umkhonto weSizwe. So Nelson Mandela, he became the first commander-in-chief of the Umkhonto weSizwe. That was formed in 1961. Then early 1962, the ANC decided to send him to Ethiopia for his military training. And he was also traveling around Africa, seeking advices and help regarding the situation here in South Africa. Then late 1962, he came here in the KZN to report to his superior. Then on his way back to Johannesburg, when he had his discussion with Chief Albert Luthuli, he was disguising himself as a chauffeur of Cecil Williams. That time he was the most wanted man because he's the one who initiated the idea of the armed struggle, and he was the one who told the ANC leaders to reject their policy of non-violence protesting. Then on his way back to Johannesburg, he was driving up here in the R103 Old Main Road here at Howick. He was arrested across the road on the main road in R103. Then he was about to spend his 27 years incarceration.
I honestly didn't even know that he got captured there. So for me, I was like, wow, this is actually really interesting. Like, I'm here. He was here.
Nelson Mandela capture site was very interesting. It's actually a monument that I've wanted to see for a long time. So I'm very proud and happy that I got to see it.
When you are done, it's our temporary exhibition. Then you'll have a chance to walk the path, which we call it the long walk to freedom. The reason we call the path the long walk to freedom, we want people to recollect the memories and remember all the sacrifices that were made for this freedom. And also, the path is not very long, like Nelson Mandela, like the real long walk to freedom that Nelson Mandela walked for us. So when he was in prison, lots of people lost faith. They thought Nelson Mandela, they will never see him. They thought they will never have a chance to see how he looked like. So as you're walking the path, you'll feel like losing hope on a distance when you see the sculpture, because you just only see black forest of black holes. But as the time you are getting closer toward the sculpture, you can see that you are getting your freedom one step at a time.
Did you happen to see the grey on Nelson Mandela's hair when you're looking at the statue? Did you see
The sculpture?
Yeah, the stilts. It's like,
Yeah.
it's pieces of, I think, steel, if I'm not mistaken, but like with a picture.
Yeah.
And that picture just so happens to be of Nelson Mandela. So
And you have to get to a certain spot
Spot,
to see it.
yes.
Like the whole walk up, you don't really see it, and then as you get to the point, there he
there
is.
he is.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was very nice. It was something that we got to spend a little bit of time doing. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, get there, look, oh, look, our selfie, gone. We got to walk around and find out a little bit more information about arguably the greatest man that ever came out of South Africa.
Our father of the nation, Nelson Mandela, he was celebrating a 50-year anniversary of his capture. Then the artist by the name Marco Sianfanelli, he is a South African. He was a vet student in Johannesburg. He got distinction in fine art. He created this beautiful sculpture for Nelson Mandela's 50-year anniversary of his capture. using 50 steel columns. They are between 6.5 and 9.5 meters tall. When you're on a certain angle, only at a distance of 35 meters away from the sculpture, you can have a proper view. It appears to be Nelson Mandela's portrait.
He was smart. He went to the right place to hide. But they caught him, so maybe it wasn't. But yeah, it was very informative.
It's very humbling to go to a place like that. You see all these motivational quotes all over the place. Such an inspiring man, such an inspiring story. It's just, it's really, no, I've really enjoyed that. I thought that was great. Educational and interesting.
My best part was the walk down and slowly watching his face come to life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the information, I think there's a lot of it that we don't know, so it's like quite nice when somebody walks you through it and they tell you about the actual story of what happened and those little details. But I also enjoyed it, it was very fun.
Yeah.
Quills Deli was beautiful. It's got the Valley of 1,000 Hills, I think, in close proximity. So I mean, it's absolutely serene. The layouts, where the windows are, the food, everything like that was phenomenal.
The cooking school goes within the business, so basically everything that they make, the students are part of that as well. Obviously they do all the cooking. They make meats, chouriços, cheeses, beer, pizza, you name it, they make it. And yeah, we were schooled on their crafts.
We're at Quills Dene at the 1,000 Hills Chef School. Joined with us is Chef Jade, who is the 2015 Unilever Senior Chef winner. And she's going to tell us about these delicious things on the table.
I think Bridget felt quite dominated for some reason. So I even saw when she started talking, I was kind of taken aback that she put her best foot forward. So tell me about la da 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 da. I was like, oh, this is professional, Bridget. Bridget number 7.
Thank you so much for having us.
Jade, thank you so much for having us.
He loves him some food, but not as much as I do. Don't be shy, girl. I'm hungry.
Okay, so that's the ciabatta cutter. As you can see, it's quite a nice, smooth texture. Obviously, with our fresh cheeses, we use a vegetable rennet, so they're vegetarian friendly. I hope you like chili. That's got a bit of a kick to it.
I'm going to ask you to cut me like half of that because
I thought you were hungry.
I am, but there's still so much to
go through.
Thank
That's
you.
obviously the black pepper. The pepper, I love the pepper too.
Dean enjoyed the food. He enjoyed the food, I think.
Okay, now these meats that you've got on this board here
Yes.
have been catching my eye ever since your waiter laid them down. Please talk me through them.
So with our chorizo, it obviously depends on the weather. It's how long it takes to sort of dry. Of course, help yourself. Anything between 2 days and a week. As you can feel, it's got a lovely soft texture. It's still quite moist. We don't like to obviously dry it out too much.
The best I've tasted, to be honest.
The meat was good. They make
was
one
amazing.
of the best chouriços I've ever had in my life.
This is our salami. That cures between a week or 2, also depending on the climate. You know, obviously being in Natal, it's quite moist and yeah, so.
Everything's greener, moister, tastier. No, I'm still sold on the cheese. This is good though. Yeah, we've been on the road and we've been having a lot of biltong, but to be honest, I would prefer these snacks on the road, right?
Yeah, definitely. So.
I just want to know what the story behind Quills Dene is, because I know this didn't happen by chance and luck. So, how did it all start? And honestly,
Okay, pretty much Quills Deli started off with the owners of the chef school. John was interested in buying another piece of land to start off the school again, and said, there was a beautiful big barn on the property. He said we should start a brewery and a cheese making section in this barn. And anyway, long story short, we ended up keeping the school on the premises in the Thousand Hills. And yeah, so John pretty much put up this lovely building, and it's run by Chef Dixie and the second years.
Wow, I have been spoiled once again. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time.
Before we leave though, I'm gonna have me a slice of bread. Goodness.
Help yourself.
Help yourself. To at least 12 more years of success. Yes. So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
You should have like a bread shake.
Oh, yes. Cheers.
I actually really love it. I think it's really great how they've structured everything. Husband and wife both have two different passions. One's a chef, one's a brewer. We've made it work, hey? Opened up a chef school.
Yeah.
We've got a deli. They make amazing food.
Amazing beer.
Amazing beer, pizza. They play
Actually got a couple of boxes of beer in the back. Is it? That's that dark stuff. What do you like? What was it called?
The sheep something wolf.
Wolf and sheep's clothing.
Yes.
We got 2 boxes of wolf and sheep's clothing.
Coming up on the Fly.
I want to go jump off of things, and I want to go and swing, and I want to go and surf, and I want to go and run and play and carry on. Do I want to sit in the classroom? Not really. Fast forward. Let's go for a walk. Yeah, Drakensberg, lots of driving, lots of mountains.
We drove through the dark to the next place.
Yeah,
we got to, which
that's
was
right.
Tree Hill Lodge.
That's right. And the GPS don't work so good out there.
OMG, I actually remember that now. Some cows in the way, trying to restrict us from our peace and sleep.
That was like the evening of U-turns.
Yeah, no.
It really was. We turned there, and then went down that one, and turned there, and then went up that one, that gravel road. What?
At one point we were like, where are we, Ben? There's no lodge here. They are lying.
And then we came around the corner to the lodge, and of course it's just spectacular.
It's like a tongue twister. Three Tree Hills Lodge. But you want to say like the next T, like Tree Hills Lodge. Like it seems, yeah. But you know why it's called that?
Tree Hill Lodge.
Yeah.
Why it's called what?
Tree Hills Lodge.
There we go.
Anglo-Boer themed decor. I mean, everything from the placemats to the pictures on the wall, to Simon himself, who gives you an in-depth, like, background. Step by step as to what happened up there on Spion School and around the surrounding areas, and why the actual lodge is placed where it is.
This is the remains of a cannon shell from the battlefields. That is a box of chocolates that was sent out to each British soldier here in 1900 on the event of Queen Victoria's birthday. And that's a bullet which I picked up on the battlefield.
I want to go jump off of things, and I want to go and swing, and I want to go and surf, and I want to go and run and play and carry on. Do I want to sit in the classroom? Not really. Fast forward. Let's go for a walk.
Believe it or not, I'm standing in the bottom of what remains of the British Trench. Of course, this is 116 years old, and there's been a lot of weathering, and the cattle have pushed the rocks over. But in the early hours of the morning, the British troops were digging themselves a little defensive position here and pushing the rocks out of the trench onto the far forward side of the trench to create a little defensive barrier. The British had made a few rather fundamental errors at this point, and one of them was the fact that they'd left behind at the mustering point the empty linen bags, which were designed to be brought up here, linen sandbags, so they could stuff them full of gravel and they could build a defensive perimeter. And they managed to get a trench that was 12 to 18 inches deep and about 2 to 3 feet wide. And it ran for 400 yards, shaped a bit like a boomerang. But imagine this, a 400-yard long, shallow, narrow trench to provide support, to provide cover rather, for 1,750 British troops. So we're going to follow along this defensive position now to the main part of the battlefield. This is the end of the British trench at the beginning of the battle. And looking at this trench, you can see it's got a certain width. Ironically, it's about 6 or 7 feet wide. And unfortunately, many British troops were to discover that a poorly prepared and sighted defensive position could simply become your mass grave. They have never been moved. Your hundreds of British troops lie here to this day. So this particular regiment is to the South Lancaster Regiment, who marched out of the Fullwood Barracks in Preston early in December of 1899. General Sir Charles Warren is sitting across at Three Tree Hill. Now, Three Tree Hill is just to the right of those tall gum trees. You can see there's a small little hill with a few trees on it. That hill 116 years ago had 3 trees on it, and they stood out at a time when this landscape here was devoid of trees. I've got photographs which show this valley here without one tree, just grassland. Just by the way, this cypress up here is a tree planted by a grieving mother who visited the foot of her son's grave in 1908. She brought this little seedling with her. And what is astonishing is this cypress, the tree of death, which you find in many graveyards around the world, has little or no water. It's growing into bare rock. It has 6 months of completely dry weather in our winter, high winds, lightning storms, and yet this tree has survived and flourished. Probably fed with the nutrients from her son's corpse. If you were a spectator up here in the early hours of the morning prior to the battle starting, you would have seen just about nothing. Because this area remained shrouded in thick mist, you would have heard the scraping of steel on rock as they try to dig themselves a little defensive position, a hole to hide in.
The emotions of what these guys must have been going through, of how dark it was, pouring down with rain, completely dehydrated, knowing that they are going to die.
We are going in right under the noses of the enemy, and many of you will not come back after this day's fight, but you do your duty and you trust in the Lord. And he was right in this initial assessment of his, because he was about to lose, rather sadly, in excess of half of his men up here in a single day's fight. And they continued up the slope towards the British-held summit when, at 7:30 that morning, the mist lifted off the top of this hill for the first time, and for the first time, the British up here in this trench alongside you could look around and assess their chosen defensive position, and there was a collective gasp, I believe, here through the British ranks of, oh my God, because they realized only now that they were in the worst defensive position imaginable. Major General Edward Woodgate ordered his men out of the trenches to rush forward and occupy the crest line, and when the British troops got to the crest line, they could lean over and look down at the Boers coming up from below, and they started to shoot at them. But of course those Boers quickly hid themselves in amongst the rocks and grasses on the slope, and when they looked up, they saw British troops standing silhouetted on the skyline, and they started to shoot at them. Very accurate sniping fire.
It's like he was there. It's actually like he was there and he's like telling you about what happened. So how these stories carry, I don't know, but it was extremely insightful.
Winston Churchill recorded on average 7 shells a minute exploding here above the heads of and in amongst these British troops.
Quite a lengthy conversation in the blistering sun. Very descriptive. Yeah, it was intense, eh?
The Lancashire Fusiliers started this battle at battalion strength. That is, there were 8 companies of 100 to 120 men apiece. At this point, shortly after midday, there were 172 of them left, able-bodied enough to throw down their rifles and to put up their hands and to run down to the Boers and make prisoners of themselves.
I'm half English and half South African, so I got no worries with what went down, you know what I mean? But,
oh, why you think I got worries? I'm half and half too, baby. Remember my surname Pike?
Better 6 battalions off this hill than a bloody mop-up in the morning. And he ordered the retirement of the British troops off Spiernkop And by 10 o'clock that night, the last vestiges of British resistance have melted off into the darkness, and they are stumbling, crawling and sliding down on their bottoms, the pitch dark slope of Spierenkop, up which they've come 24 hours before, utterly demoralized.
Simon's probably like the best person to go and learn about that era. And funny enough, it's within his family history. He ended up marrying one of the women whose great-grandfather or something like that was a part of the war, and so they built the lodge around it.
Coming up on the Fly.
So you're going to teach me how to make this amazing bread that I've been hearing about? Yes. Okay, awesome.
There you go, there we have it.
Perfect. So we're going to pop that bad boy in the oven. Absolutely, I would say, Simon's probably like the best person to go and learn about that era. And funny enough, it's within his family history. He ended up marrying one of the women whose great-grandfather or something like that was a part of the war, and so they built the lodge around it. And the lodge is stunning. The views,
stargazing, all that kind of stuff. It's amazing. Food was good.
Everything is organic. They use energy-saving cooking methods. I can finally say that now. At Sweet Tree, they use energy-saving techniques to cook their food. Now, I'm here to learn all about it. They have the solar cooker as well as the Wonder Bag. Please tell me exactly how these two things work.
Okay, the solar cooker, I've just made my lentil curry onto the solar cooker that are soaked overnight. So you just put them on, and then you just reflect it to the sunlight. So you cook the lentils just for 45 minutes before you can transfer it to the Wonder Bag for serving. We also cook some bread up there. We just make it there, and then we'll just have it up there for 60 minutes, and then it's cooked.
And then once they have been in the solar cooker, they go into the Wonder Bag, which keeps it warm as well as continues to cook. So you're going to teach me how to make this amazing bread that I've been hearing about?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. What do we need?
We need some flour,
yes,
warm water,
yes,
dried yeast,
over here,
and some salt,
okay,
and sugar.
Sugar?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have sugar? Okay, awesome.
Because we're doing like a small bread, so we can use like 100 and it's 1,000 mils.
You need a cup or a bowl to measure it out. I'll hold it out. I'll hold this for you while you pour.
There you go.
Perfect. So 250 grams of the stone ground flour.
The dry ingredients first.
Okay.
So you go with the yeast. We just use one packet.
One packet.
Yes.
Okay, so that is about 10 grams of yeast.
10 grams. Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to add a little bit of salt.
Just a teaspoon of salt.
Okay.
And we'll need a little bit of oil, just to make it a bit softer. Just
We're using olive oil for this cake, right?
Yes, olive oil we do use, and the sunflower oil, of course. It helps it to be soft. So, because if it doesn't have oil, then it's going to go hard.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. We usually do like the pumpkin seed loaf. Sometimes we do the cheese loaf. It depends
on
yes,
what
on what
flavors
you
you want.
So today we're going to be doing the pumpkin seed loaf.
Awesome. So could I add herbs or anything that I like, depending on what flavors I like?
Just anything you want. Then just your preference of the bread. Then you can just put anything.
Awesome. What's next? So we make a little hole in the middle.
Yes, of course.
See, I know a little something about it. A little something. I want to see. I always get these things wrong, the proportions. Making an eye on my practice.
So you just do like this.
And then you slowly mix it and you fold.
Now you don't have to fold. You can just
you can just fold. Oh, I love making bread. In that case. Okay, so once the bread is done and it has risen for 20 minutes, what's next?
Then we just take our baking pan.
Okay.
Grease it with the butter.
All right.
And then we just put the dough in here.
In there?
Yes.
How long to cook in the solar cooker? How long does it take once we've done? Put it in the pan. And
it's an hour.
An hour?
It's an hour, yes. Oh, yes.
Okay. So now we wait for it to rise a little.
Oh, yes, of course.
And I believe a lot of the produce that you have here as well is grown.
Yes, we've got our herb garden where I've been there just now to pick up some herbs for my salads.
Oh, wonderful.
We also have our own chickens that produce
Really?
eggs. Yes.
Oh, wonderful. So fresh eggs in the morning.
Every day in the morning, we've got fresh eggs.
So now that the bread has risen, the yeast has been activated, we're just going to pop this bad boy into the pan. And this is the best part, of course, because now it's going to cook. And we'll see if my bread skills, my bread making skills are any good.
There
So
you
we
go.
just pop it in like that. Doesn't look very
And we
good.
just try to
Soften it out, make it
Yes.
look presentable.
shape it. There you go, there we have it.
Perfect. So we're going to pop that bad boy in the oven. I'd love to know about these Wonder Bags. So how exactly do these work?
Okay, you can just cook anything in those ones. You can even leave your pot and go to Joburg and come back. You're going to find your meat cooked.
Really?
Yes.
No, you're
perfect.
not. We're going to use one of these, correct?
Yes, I'll use one of those. So I'm just going to continue with my recipe, which
right.
I need cream and my herbs.
The ones that you picked from the garden. this
Yes.
morning. Okay, wonderful. It smells good. It looks good. I love me
Those
some
will go on
cashews.
stop.
Sorry, I just had to steal one. Oh, that goodness. Oh, it smells so good. You have no idea. And we close this bad boy up.
There you go. Then you've got your curry. You just have it in here,
Yes.
and then you need that lid.
Mm-hmm.
You make sure that it's closed tightly. There's a drawstring.
Okay.
Then you just
You pull. And
you pull and push that thing.
so we've made our lentils, we've made our rice, as well as some delicious bread. And this is how they do it at Fruit Trees. The energy-saving Wonder Bag, as well as the solar cooker. I'm very impressed. Thank you so much for sharing with us to do this. And I think I'm going to order one. The energy-saving cooking methods. They use solar power and Wonder bags to make their food. They're very efficient in that regard, trying to be eco-friendly as possible.
Yeah, you cooked us some bread, didn't you?
I did. I made some bread. That's good bread. No, really, it is. Really good. And like you said, it's soft.
Oh yes, well
And
done. You did
moist.
a great job.
Thank you so much for teaching me. I'm really good. One of the ones. Thank you. Just gonna put a rough plate in front of me. Oh, they're good.
Better than mine, actually.
There you have it. If you're in Bathsville, there's only one thing you can do. I mean, you weren't going to hike the whole of the dock. It wasn't going to happen. So, stop it. But the best way to see the dock is there's only one way. It's a 15-minute flight, a little ride.
Choppering around.
It is so awesome. And I don't like heights, but that was
around as much as you want to get the shots of anything else that you wish. We're getting up to about 9,000 now. Yes. Alright, then that's the dragon's back. Can you see the sun shining through that gap up there? That's Gray's Pass. It's one of the hiking trails going up to the top of the mountain. Alright, do you want some valleys? Do you want to go down?
Let's go down.
Alright, let's go down. Right, we're going to descend quite quickly. Alright, we're going to go right down into the valley here. Yo, can you feel it in your ears, eh? Yeah, keep popping them, guys. Keep popping them, man. You ready? How good is that, man?
bash into a mountain, because the pilot will just go in and out and follow the wind, and you're just like, woo!
Yeah, it gets really close to the ground.
Yeah,
like
and it
really
was
close.
zoof. It was pretty cool. I enjoyed that a lot. Shout out to the pilot, smooth landing. I like your work. I love your work. Yeah, definitely.
On a helicopter.
He was actually taken. He was like, listen,
Telling you.
Bridget, if I have to work for the rest of my life, so I can have a helicopter.
No traffic.
Making it happen.
Surf check from above. Land on a beach. Have a, yeah, no. Come, Bridget. Thank you again so much. So what did you think?
It was awesome. Let's go again.
Really?
I can't hear you on this ear.
I said, what did you think?
Huh? And I'm joking.
That was the most fun I've had, and that was epic. I really
I
enjoyed
don't know if
that.
I could trust you, Dene.
You're not invited yet, but I'm just telling you, I
Now
want
I'm
to
not
get.
invited.
Do you see how fabulous I looked? No, be honest, you even took a picture
Yeah,
of
you
me.
look pretty fabulous.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Coming up on the next episode of On the Fly. Free ski! Do you want to be in the Alps? Yes, you do. But guess what? You go to Lesotho for it. Boom!
We're hitting the slopes.
Oh my
Go!
You can ride like that, you can drink like that as well.
Just pull it. Go up. There you go, man. Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, you're also getting emotional.